There are basic entry requirements that you will need to have in place to study for the PGCE. You will need to have a degree or an equivalent qualification and have graduated before the start of the course. Your degree can be in any subject or discipline for the primary pathway, but for the secondary pathway, it will need to be in a subject that you want to teach. If you don't have a degree in that subject, you can apply to do a subject knowledge enhancement course to top up your subject knowledge. You will also need a GCSE grade C or a 4 or above in English and in maths, and for the primary pathway in science. If you would like to follow the primary mathematics specialist route, you will also need a grade B or above in mathematics at A level. If you don't have your GCSEs in those areas, we may accept an equivalent, and we can certainly arrange for you to take an equivalency test. We are a very inclusive provider, and we welcome applications from all backgrounds. Once you've been offered a place at the university, and before you can fully register, you'll need to be cleared by the Disclosure and Barring Service, or DBS. It's important that you don't leave that to the last moment, as sometimes those clearance checks can take several weeks or even months to complete. You'll also need to get a satisfactory medical assessment from your physician to teach. That's an assessment on your health and your physical capacity to teach. Information gathered from that may be used to help the university to arrange for reasonable adjustments to the school placements and ensure that you have all the support that you need to be successful on the course. Lastly, and while it's not compulsory, particularly in the time of COVID, we would recommend that you have some experience in school. This will strengthen your application, but it also gives you some insight into whether or not teaching is for you. The Get Into Teaching website offers guidance on applying and access to a teacher training advisor. Applications to teacher training courses starting in autumn 2022 open on the 12th of October. And there's just one route to applying, which is through the Government Apply for Teacher Training Service. When you apply, you'll need to give details about your qualifications, including your GCSEs and A-levels or equivalents, and your degree, your work history or unpaid experience, why you want to teach, and why you're suited to teach a particular subject or age group. You can also share whether you need any adjustments during the application process or on the course, for example, if you're disabled. When applying, you'll need to give the contact details of 2 referees. If you've been in education during the last 5 years, you should provide details of a recent academic tutor. If you've been out of education for longer than 5 years, you can provide 2 professional references. I think an academic reference won't be read. The second reference should come from a professional, ideally someone you worked for. Your references should be able to talk about your teaching passion and your potential, your suitability for working with children, your academic abilities and your reliability and your professionalism. Referees should not be family members, partners or friends. Naturally, it's helpful and obviously courteous to check with your referees beforehand that they're happy to offer a reference, and they'll have about 2 weeks to respond to the reference request. When you apply, you don't have to complete the whole form in one go. Just remember to save it so that you can pick up where you left off later on. You can choose to apply to 3 different providers. So your application will be sent directly to those providers, and hopefully you'll be invited for interview. If you're applying for Teach First, you will apply directly to the Teach First programme, and for EYITT, you'll apply directly to BASSPA. As part of your application form, you'll need to write a personal statement, but there's a 500-word limit, so it will need to be succinct. But remember that you don't need to complete it all in one go, so we would advise that you save it and keep editing it until you're happy with it. The personal statement is important as it's an opportunity to highlight strengths and to show how you bring these to teaching. It's a chance to show your motivation, your commitment and your teaching potential. We're not looking for a set formula in the way that it's structured, but it might be helpful for you to know some of the things that we are looking for. So, for example, we want to see enthusiastic, committed individuals. So try to convey these characteristics. We want to know why you think you'd make a good teacher. So think about how your experience to date might demonstrate that. We want trainees who successfully complete the course and go on to have a successful career. So we want to know a bit about why you think teaching is the right career for you. Certainly, any school experience or any prior work with children will be really valuable, as you'll draw on that to illustrate the points that you're making in your statement. Please make sure your personal statement is tailored to the age phase or the subject that you want to teach. Make sure you proofread it, and ideally ask someone else to proofread it for you as well. And you can also access support from the Get Into Teaching website.